think the reason that we were drawn to each other was because we all felt a bit disconnected with what was going on around us musically and in terms of the poetry and stuff like that. And I think really we wanted really good mates that we could talk to, and we kind of, when we found that we were all interested in poetry and we were all interested in like 60s garage rock and stuff like that, that was kind of the reason, you know, for us to come together and talk. We kind of pass around like a notebook, and we'd encourage each other to write a line or two, and we'd drink a lot of beers and cocktails and stuff like that. We'd drink cocktails until we realised that we were spending too much money, and then we drink beers. And but it was that sort of like that sort of sense of like you know, revolution, which is totally in our heads. But that's
just kind of made us feel like we were doing something.
Yeah. It felt exciting. It felt important. It felt significant.
Put a curtain over the fact that we were just kind of drinking, and made it seem like we were maybe enriching each other's lives. With in hindsight, maybe we were.
We were. We were, man. Yeah. Well, we were all into like people like Yates and Patrick Kavanagh, where Curly's from. Mm-hmm. Curly likes Patrick Kavanagh a lot. He got a book by Patrick Kavanagh for Christmas, didn't you?
Yeah, I did actually get it for Christmas off my girlfriend, and yeah, Patrick Kavanagh would probably be the biggest one for me, because I enjoy his flaws in like his earlier stuff, and then like whenever you see his progression through his poetry, and then you end up on Raglan Road, which is ended up being a song that the Dubliners started singing. I think that whole scene back then is just so interesting. Like, to think at one stage in a bar in Dublin was Patrick Kavanagh and Luke Kelly sitting there, and Patrick Kavanagh was sitting there being like, I have this song for you, you know?
Flann O'Brien and Brendan Behan, they were all sitting around the same bars together, you know?
Because we started out really with beat poetry, and that was kind of like the scene that we were like, this is so cool that this collection of writers could get together, inspire each other with the way that they were living, and each of them, you know, like Jack Kerouac, Allen Ginsberg, all the Burroughs, all of them have works that stand to themselves, but yeah, I think just the fact that there was a scene of writers was very interesting, and then when we found out there was one in Ireland, it was yeah, it was just very inspiring, you know.
You know I love that violence that you get around here, that kind of pretty steady violence, that violent, how do you do, the lie when steady was sleeping upon.
The song Liberty Bell, well, it was written when we were, see, like, I can't really tell you the answer to that, you know, in kind of like, in a succinct way. I only know that it was written when we lived in the Liberties, which is a part of Dublin with a lot of character, you know. It's kind of like on the edge of like the gentrification strip, you know what I mean? And it becomes kind of more and more Irish and more old and traditional. There was just so many things that you'd see along the street. There's a pub there called the Liberty Bell, and there was a shop there as well called the Liberty Bell. And the pub itself is a very kind of traditional place. It's a great bar. And then the other place, the shop, was a total outlier, you know. It was really, really strange, and had a kind of like a spider web feel to it. Like if you go in, it felt like, you know, the people that were selling you clothes were kind of like trying to eat you, you know. And so yeah, but it was kind of just written about trying to process all the crazy stuff that we saw on a day-to-day basis. I definitely feel like there's a bit of like a sort of incestuous behaviour creatively in Dublin at the moment. Like there's great bands coming out, like the Murder Capital and Just Mustard and Melts. I think there was a bit of a catalyst in the form of girl band a few years back, and it took people, particularly local people, to sort of digest it, because it was so different. It's so incredibly different from what we perceive to be Irish culture, but at the same time it was very kind of intrinsically Irish because of its language, and but it was a very modern approach to Irishness, you know. So it was sort of like a modernist. To us, it was like a modernist Pogues, you know. So we kind of we took a lot of influence from the Pogues, and we took a lot of influence from girl band, and now all these bands are kind of coming around in Dublin. I think we're all kind of like reacting similarly to girl band, and it's great because it's great when you're influenced by your friends, you know, and your family as well, just people that are actually in your day-to-day life, and it's much more exciting to be influenced by things like that than be straight up kind of influenced by other bands like you know, from the 60s and 70s, you know. It's nice to be kind of influenced by your neighbour, you know. Well, Curly wrote the lyrics to that song, and it was at a very kind of. I mean, I want to say it was at a very poignant time in our lives, but you know, it's only made poignant by the person who's living it really, and Curly made it poignant by capturing it.
Yeah, the video ended up being something like, to me anyway, really special. I feel like it captured the idea of the song in a way that I could never really have imagined it. And I mean, the guy who directed the video, Liam Papadici, did an amazing job, you know? Because like the idea of the song really was like a loss of hope and a loss of innocence, and his angle with that in the video, just like, he really did do an amazing job. And yeah, like that video will always be so important to me because it was like filmed in a place that's near where I'm from, and also a bar that's like right down the road where I live now. So I feel like the video will probably, like, never mind about Fontaines D.C, I feel like that video will probably go a lot further just because it's an amazing piece of art. Where I come from is a place called Monaghan in Ireland. It's just like a really small town on the border between north and south of Ireland, so it's kind of like a no man's land. Like, the north doesn't really want to claim it, and it's not really, people in the south wouldn't really think it's in the south. So it's just that kind of place, like, and I don't know, it's probably reflected in the song, that kind of feeling of being like in a no man's land, not knowing which direction to turn and kind of being suffocated by that.
I kind of, I don't want to talk too much, but like that sort of feeling is very present on the whole album, I feel, because it was kind of written mostly from a place where there was no sense of like beginning or end, you know. So no one really knew where they were standing. And it was kind of influenced a lot by the Dubliners, by James Joyce, in the sense that there was that, like, you know, like that theme of inertia and entrapment, and kind of like realizing. Diego basically explained this to me, that a lot of the kind of general theme through that collection of stories is that the characters involved realize that they're in a particular situation and simultaneously realize that there's no way out of them. So that kind of like the combination of hope and entrapment is the most dangerous. You know, entrapment on its own with no hope is fine. That's just denial. But entrapment with hope is a lot more tragic, you know.
Dogrel is a type of poetry. It's there's a word used for kind of old Irish poetry that would use a lot of repetition and not be afraid of kind of using humour. Usually associated with kind of working class, you know. But it's also used in a way to describe things that are really bad, you know. Things that are really bad are described as a piece of dogrel. That's why whenever Diego here proposed that we use that name, it seemed perfect, because we didn't want to take ourselves too seriously with this album and like shove it at people being like, this is the best piece of art or anything like this. It's just music, you know, and you take from it what you can and what you want. So that's kind of why Dogrel describes our music, or this first album, pretty perfectly, in a way.